Welcome back to game number 2 of this matchup between these fantastic Terran and Protoss players. Game number 1, we saw a very early push coming out from the two bases of our Root Gaming player down here at the left-hand side on Neoplanet S. It is Succeed. His two base push, there we go, get my English right. He did sort of, as I said, overstepped his bounds just a tiny bit, which sort of led to the Immortals being destroyed, the rest of the forces being caught out as well, and I think that was the only real reason that didn't work. Polt wasn't, like, we want to say that Polt was prepared, but he didn't exactly know what was going on. He didn't actually have all the intel of what was happening there in that game, but up at the top right-hand side, of course, playing for CMStorm, it is Polt. Fantastic Korean Terran player. Won the GSL Super Tourney quite a while back. I wonder if any of you guys remember all of that tourney. All I remember is people wearing 3D glasses from that tournament because they had a 3D screen for some of the matches. It was insane. Anyway, so this is, of course, a best of 3 taken from the CNA trials, which we had last weekend, which, as I said, was around about the 7th or the 8th of June 2013. Had also Huck was in the tournament. We were going to have Ghost User, but I don't think he turned up in the end. There was from OG Gaming was Rivik. We also had Puck. We also had Vibe. Quite a lot of the Root guys actually joined in the tournament, which was good to see. Root has quite a lot of my favorite Protoss players in Succeed, Puck, and also Sage. So it's kind of a little bit of a bias there sometimes when I'm watching these guys play. But Polt, we'll see what he gets up to here in game number 2. Looks like we are going to get another Reaper opening from him. That gas coming up very quickly there, so that he can have the 50 gas that he needs to start up with that first Reaper. The Reaper plays, you know, a lot of people are starting to do this nowadays in TvP. You get that first Reaper out. This guy can really help out with getting some scouting going on. It looks as if he's actually, wow, that's pretty cool. He's going to scout up here to what is a very common sort of proxy position for Protoss players if they want to go for a like a proxy Stargate down here or up here or something like that. You can. It's a very common place to see it. It actually boggles my mind that people don't start to use other places. Sometimes I have seen people try and do it down here as well, just sort of around this sort of position, but it's very common to see it up at that normal third base. So Polt's going to scout through with an SCV, is actually going to find out what's going on before the Reaper gets there, so not too much fancy stuff going on right now from Succeed, just the 2 workers in the gases there, so he is going to go for another relatively quick expansion, going to have a Zealot out and a Stalker, so he'll have good protection against any possible eBay block this time, so he's not going to be fussing around with any of that kind of stuff, wants to get that expansion going as quickly as he can. Interestingly, it looks like is he? Wow, I was gonna say if he gets that eBay down with the Zealot there, that's quite an interesting sight. But Polt does finally retreat. He does have a Reaper now, just linking up with the rest of his forces. Going to try and kill off this Zealot. Probably not going to happen, but he is going to attempt to target down that probe. He interestingly is delaying that base by just a short time there. So Polt, you know, he's okay with that right now. Got an expansion coming up with the command center just up at the inside the main base, a very safe way to play out this kind of style here for Polt. He's got a second barracks over here. Intrigued by that. Oh, actually, I suppose, you know, it's like, the only reason I'm a little bit intrigued about this is that he saw the 2 gases inside the main. He may have checked how much gas was inside and was aware that it's probably not some kind of Stargate play, but I mean, it's very common to see what normally Terran players like to also do is go for reactor marines and then also get a Widowmine out of a very quick factory. So just a slight little bit of a difference there from Polt when it comes to the way he's going to open up this game for the time being. But Succeed, poking about with that mothership core, just trying to see what's going on, sees that there is a bunker, there's at least 1 marine inside, and so he cannot push against that at all. So the mothership core just going to float about like a shiny disco ball, and that's just going to give a little bit of high ground vision there of what's going on inside the natural base. So back at home, we heard Aldaris with his research complete. That means that the warp gate tech is now done. A forge coming down from Succeed. Interesting. little bit, I wonder what he's going for right now. It's quite possible that he's going to go for another 2-base attack. It looks like we are going to get some 3-gate pressure, though, with a little bit of an old-school style, sort of Wings of Liberty-esque kind of play here, which is what you would, what I'm sure many people remember was what you would commonly see in PvT, was a 3-gate expansion-based build for a Protoss, where they would get out quite a few of these gates. They would then go for a Sentry Zealot-based attack on the natural base. So what you would really want to try and do here is force field that bunker so that it cannot be repaired, and then take it down with the Zealots and that and the laser beam flashlight damage of those sentries. So Polt actually in a little bit of trouble here. He gets force fielded out. Very nicely done by Succeed. Got that high ground vision from the mothership core, so it looks as if a lot of Marines going to get taken out there by Succeed. Very nicely done by him. That is pretty decent, and unfortunately right now he is supply blocked, so he's not going to be able to warp in any more units right now. We can see that he is warping in 2 more pylons to try and get some units back on the field, but that's still, regardless of that block, that's still a nice amount of damage. What I would like to see him do is just be a little bit careful with these units right now. You don't need to lose all of these units. If he can get out, keep a lot of these units alive, particularly those sentries, then he can keep himself in a very solid position right now. But +1 to armor is on the way from Succeed. So a standard sort of upgrade to come out of our Protoss player here, but interesting sort of attack. You don't get to see that every day now, this sort of 3-gate pressure. So Polt not exactly prepared for that. We mentioned how he didn't have a factory for any Widow Mines or anything like that. He only had these 2 racks producing. So he is going to have a few Marines and Marauders left over. But will it be enough to fend off this attack? Because Succeed is now pushing forward a little bit too far forward, it would seem, as his mothership core does get blown apart. Stalkers on the ramp trying to retreat to save themselves some health, but I think the Polt should be able to hold this together. The factory has pushed out a single Widow Mine, and that's going to take out that Zealot there. So it looks like Succeed, well, he's still continuing on with this attack. And I mean, if Polt doesn't get this out of the way very soon, +1 to armor is going to kick in, and then we'll probably see Succeed add in a few more Zealots to tank up these SCVs and those Marines as well. And I think this, in fact, no, this actually may be over. The Widow Mine about to get that missile back in its tank there, and we'll see if he does go for a big shot on the SCVs, but here we go. Widow Mine back up and operational. Zealot goes down, the Stalker's still alive, and Succeed is now just about to add in his +1 to armor. Nice micro to keep that Stalker away from the battle there. Back at home, Succeed is now up to 45 probes. He has got a wonderful economy. This is sort of, you know, your perfect sort of 3-gate attack that has gone just so well here for our Protoss player from Root Gaming. He's going to avoid those Widow Mines there. Polt quickly trying to get all those units back together. It looks like the Widow Mine now back up together. We'll see if he gets a shot off, because these SCVs are actually in a very dangerous position right now. It looks like Succeed is just going to continue to micro back and forth. Succeed trying to throw that Zealot into the range of the Widow Mine, trying to get it to take the shot there. But it looks like the SCVs are going to go down slowly but surely. We're down to a very minimal total here for Polt, and that is... that's just a 4 SCV count to a 52 Protoss right now. And I'm sure Polt knows that the game is basically over, but he's just trying to fend off with what he has left. The last Marine about to go down. And with the last few Stalkers now pushing their way inside, Polt is pretty much dead. Succeed always wanting to make sure when you're ahead, you get more ahead, adding on a Twilight Council just in case something fishy is going on. But I mean, that is pretty much it right now. Widow Mine takes out one of the Stalkers. Looks like Succeed is going to be forced to back off for the moment. We'll see what he does here with these Stalkers. He is going to add in Blink very soon, and I mean, if the game isn't over already, then it's definitely over once Blink is added in. Warp Prism on the way from Succeed. Looks like he is also looking to take a 3rd base as well. A probe just heading down here. Going to set up a Nexus, and that means that his economy is just going to jump even further ahead. Once this Warp Prism comes out, that's also going to add in quite a lot of, you know, extra sort of mobility here. But I mean, Succeed going to add in those Zealots here. They've got their +1 on their armor, which really helps out in tanking those Marines and all those kinds of units that, well, the few units that Polt is going to have. But he has established a little bit of a high ground here. A couple of Widow Mines. The 2nd Command Center has been continuously pumping out SCVs to try and regenerate the count of SCVs at this point. But I mean, as I said, it's pretty much over at this point. I'm trying to sort of find a way that Polt can make his way back into this. I mean, I know it's a very common sort of thing to say, but if there's anyone who could do it, it's probably Polt. I mean, he's a wonderful player. He is looking to try and take the low ground now. Has finally moved down there. Can see those few stalkers down at the front. Yeah, he really should recognize that is going to be a lot of units to deal with very soon. And here he comes. That Widow Mine was pushing across the map with those last two Widow the Medevac with the last two Widow Mines. Gonna drop in here, we'll see how much damage this can get done. Just the one Widow Mine there to get a shot off. Takes out, you know, 5 Marines, but I mean, when you're losing a natural, that's actually now torn apart. Polt is supply blocked. I think it's time, Polt. I mean, you know, he's pretty good, but I don't think he's this good when you're dealing especially with someone like Root Gaming Succeed, who is a wonderful Protoss player. But here we go, possibly the last attack. We've got Succeed just pushing at this front door, knocking on the door, saying, "Little pig, let me in." The stalkers will have to retreat for a moment. Some zealots are going to warp in, and Blink active. Here we'll see that magnificent Blink micro from Succeed, and Polt doesn't even want to see it, so he gives out the GG. So game number 2 in this best of 3 goes the way of CMStorm. Goes the way of Root Gaming Succeed, blinking across, taking out the last few units, and that will be that. So we'll go into game number 3 in just a moment and see who is going to take the win in this final match between these wonderful two players. On the, was it the TSL team and then Prime? I think that's the way it went originally for Polt over in Korea. Now, of course, living in the US and studying at geez, I've forgotten which